Hello and welcome to another episode. My name is Richard Arsenault and I'll be your host for this podcast. Today I have with me James Purcell. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. We'll start off by letting you give us a quick introduction.
Sure. My name's James. I've been vegan for 6 years, and I've been an activist for like 3 years. So I guess it's more accurate to say I've been plant-based for 6 years, and I've been vegan, because that means ethically minded, for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 34. I'm in the military, and I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Nice. How long have you been in the military for?
I've been in the Reg Force, so full-time.
Okay, nice.
Going on 6 years, and I was part-time before that for about 5 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Quite a while then.
Yeah, the money's good.
Yeah.
Keeps me coming back.
Oh, for sure. I was in there actually. I did the boot camp, and then I did the summer in Gagetown, and I'm still interested and stuff, but then eventually I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I seen all my buddies go out west Alberta, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there. And for some reason, I just didn't feel it anymore. But yeah, it's pretty cool though. I love the experience. It was so much fun. Like, definitely glad I did it for the time that I was in there. Anyways.
Yeah, they throw a lot of education at you.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. So
while paying you.
What's that?
While paying.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice sometimes when you get the weekends off, but you still get paid.
Yeah.
Benefits of working for the government, I guess, eh? So you went vegan 6 years ago, and what made you go plant-based, and were there any doubts?
Oh yeah, definitely doubts. This is a really interesting question because a lot of people have different stories, but for me, I feel like mine is common. I lived all my life thinking that we needed to eat animals to be healthy. But when that belief was challenged, because I was just on YouTube, and for some reason YouTube decided to show me a video of vegan athletes,
mm-hmm.
or bodybuilders. And until that point, this was 6 years ago, until that point I thought there was no such thing. There could never be. I thought, erroneously, there could never be a vegan athlete because I thought vegans were these crazy people that were hurting their own health because of the poor animals. But once I had that belief challenged, and once I realized that just wasn't true at all, and I actually looked into it, and I realized there really weren't any health concerns as long as you're getting a nutritionally adequate diet, well, then it begs the new question, which is, wait, so then what are we doing this to animals for? And then you have to come up with justifications. You have to think, because what we do to animals is violent. Okay, I don't necessarily have a problem with violence. Violence has its place in certain scenarios. So what's the justification? And then the only justifications I could find were pleasure, convenience, culture, all things that we would never use to justify violence in any other context.
Yeah.
But suddenly, because it's something that we're all doing, because everyone supports this abuse of animals, which is what it is, then it's okay? No. So I couldn't contribute to that anymore. So I'm compelled to stop eating animals, to align my actions with my values.
Perfect. Yeah, totally. So did you initially go plant-based for health, environment, or ethical reasons?
I guess health out of those, but really it wasn't for health. It was curiosity. It was, I saw this video and I'm thinking, wow, so wait, I don't need to eat animals? Well, let's see what this feels like. Let's try this out. I saw it as a challenge. I was like, wow, these people have not eaten animals. There's this guy who hasn't eaten animals in 30 years and he looks like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this out. But then after that, so no, it was never really for health. It was never because I thought it was healthy or anything. It was more an experiment realizing, wait, this is cheaper. My grocery bill is cheaper because I'm cooking whole foods.
Yeah.
And so then I'm still thinking I'm being selfish. Me. My grocery bill is cheaper. This is great. My life is easier. But then eventually, looking into the ethics of it and hearing from people, watching videos from people like James Aspey and Gary Yourofsky, now I'm starting to think about, wait, this is wrong, what we do to animals. It's not just that, like, I'm saving money, but I'm not contributing to the animal's suffering.
Nice.
So
yeah.
It started out as an experiment, and it became an ethics.
Yeah, that's a cool perspective. I've never gotten that one yet. The way you've entered into it, out of curiosity, and then it changed from there, right?
Really? Oh, I figured that would be the common one.
Oh no, but like people would say health, and they do the health thing. But I guess your situation was more like, a little bit different. It was kind of on the health side, but still kind of like what really drug you into try was just the curiosity of what it would be like not to eat animals. It wasn't necessarily like full health reasons kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. Yeah,
I think you nailed it. I wasn't trying to do a thing that would be more healthy than because I read about it on the internet or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a thing that I knew was healthy because I saw videos of people who did it for 30 years that were totally healthy. So I didn't need any further convincing than that.
Yeah.
It's right in front of me. I don't need studies or statistics or whatever. It's right there. So I'm just going to just try it out.
For sure. Yeah, that's what Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And then, you know how it is. You try it out and you have no idea what a vegan meal consists of or a plant-based meal consists of. So you do all sorts of weird... I was eating like mushroom rice stir fries that were not nutritionally adequate because I had no idea what I was doing. And I didn't... And back then, chronometer.com didn't exist, so I couldn't just go on a website and look up nutritional information to see that I was getting all I needed.
Yeah.
But, I knew it was possible.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I try?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was it.
Totally. Yeah, I know. I've started saying that too to some people sometimes, and just more viewing that perspective is that, a lot of people are so focused on the facts and the studies and this and that, and it's like, well, they've studied this for 20 years. It's like, just look at the people that have been doing it for so many years, 30, 40, 50 years, or even 10 or whatever. All these people are super healthy. These doctors have been doing it for so long. Like, that's enough proof. I don't need these fancy studies and facts and all this kind of stuff, It's pure proof to me right there that people can do it. Like, it might just be harder for some and easier for some others, but, it can be done, So
that's it.
Yeah, totally. What was your food style like before you went vegan? How did you eat?
So when I went vegan, a lot of things were happening in my life at the same time. So back then, I was younger, obviously. So I was 28, and up until that point, I had been eating, sort of everything comes out of a box kind of diet.
Yeah.
McDonald's twice a week, like, meat 3 meals a day.
Oh, for sure.
Heavy meat and cheese, and all dairy, fish diet, heavy animal product diet. I went vegan. I went mostly plant-based overnight. It's always the cheese that lingers on.
Oh, for sure.
Dairy cheese. But yeah, so the diet was not that good for omnivore standards prior to me going vegan. But it wasn't that bad either. I wasn't eating a horrible diet. It's not like it was McDonald's every day and tons of junk food. I wasn't really eating much sugar or sweets or anything really. But I found that once I took the animal products out, like, it's like peeling layers. Like, I took the animal products out, and that makes me now sensitive to the little bits of sugar I have. So I take those out, the soda pop and whatever, and that makes me sensitive to the little bits of I don't know, whatever, little bits of processed for the chips or the crackers. And then I take those out, and now I'm really starting to feel good. I'm really like, wow, I didn't realize I could feel like this. Like, how don't more people do this?
Yeah.
But like, I would not have been sensitive to the crackers and the soda pop had I not taken the animal products. You know what I mean? Like, it's layers.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so diet, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Nice. How did you feel after going plant-based? Were you affected physically, mentally after making the change, or including any struggles?
Yeah, I bet a lot of people a lot of new vegans have the same results from this. I mean, the usual one is all the fiber in your body, so you're going to the bathroom, much more, and you're a lot more gassy for the first couple of months. That was my experience anyway. And then the body adapts to all the fiber, and now it's like how it was before.
For sure.
For me. But so yeah, that was one physical change. Is I felt bloated is the wrong word, but for the first couple months, I was more gassy and using the bathroom more. So yeah. So, I mean, that was inconvenient, right? But, oh well, it goes away. I have to think back. I'm imagining my first gone plant-based days. A weird one that I really wasn't expecting, and I still don't know what to make of this, although I have seen other people talk about this. After about a year, my vision got substantially better. And I don't mean like, the vision is bad and then one day passes and suddenly it's substantially better. I mean, over the course of time, and I couldn't perceive the little changes. And how I know this is because about a year into it, the military doctor calls me up after I had done my second medical. Okay. And she accuses me of buying contacts and I guess not alerting the military. Or rather, at first she said, "Hey, so you must have got contacts, right?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Really? Because on the eye chart this time, you scored two rows better than you did before, 2 complete rows." Wow. So and so I asked her, so she didn't believe me when I said no contacts. She was like, "Really? Are you lying to me?" But, and so I asked her the question. I said, could those 2 rows be because maybe I tried harder? Maybe because did I squint? Maybe I tried harder on this go? And she said, no. Maybe trying harder and squinting would get you 1 line better or half a line. But to do 2 full lines, she said, this doctor was unheard of to her. So And so I never tell people like, oh, it's because I went plant-based or whatever, because I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I haven't talked to anyone besides a few vegans who ever had that experience. Like, it's not like that's a normal thing as far as what I asked my dad about it, and he's like, what? And yeah, so that was one change that I don't know if I can chalk that up to veganism or not, but that happened. Yeah. The vision got substantially better. Oh, another big one. This is the big one. This is one I tell people about that I've just I take for granted now. Back when I was eating animals, you might have heard this term before. I always got lunch drunk. Okay, so, yeah. As in you eat lunch and you just feel like, oh, I can't learn anything right now. I'm lunch drunk. I'm bloated. I just had a huge meal of dead cow and dead pig or whatever.
Can't focus.
That has gone away completely. I don't know what that is anymore. I haven't experienced that feeling in more years. I don't know when it went away because it's so far at the back of my mind. Totally. So I think that was one of the biggest ones. Nice. And that goes to the whole feeling lighter all the time. You just feel lighter. After a meal, I'm like, okay, that was a big meal. My stomach feels full. 10 minutes pass. Okay, I could go for a 10-kilometer run. Maybe not 10 minutes, maybe half an hour. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Just feel good all the time. I mean, this is coming from someone who pays attention to their diet and ensures that I eat a nutritionally adequate diet with enough calories, and I sure all my vitamins are within the recommended daily allowance. Because obviously, I mean, Oreos are vegan. You can eat a crappy vegan diet and
For sure.
and have bad performance. But yeah, so I think that's all I can think of for.
Yeah, totally. No, that's good.
I
I can definitely say I've heard about the vision thing. Like I've heard a few people before say that, but I think the main reason why it's maybe not as heard as often is because most people don't get their eyes checked that often or at all. So,
that's a good point.
So if you would, you would every year, and then you would go vegan and then keep checking, maybe you'd see a difference. But most people don't really. I don't remember the last time I got my eyes checked, like years ago, so.
I didn't think about that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, because for you, since you're in the military, you probably do a regular check every year or a couple of years. I don't know how it works. So.
A couple of years, yeah.
Yeah, so there's probably that, being able to notice that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So how did it affect people around you, like your friends and family?
I still remember when my best friend, who I really respect, almost more than anyone, he tried to justify the animal holocaust and I mean, he's not phrasing it in that way at all, but I know what he's doing. He was trying to justify eating animals by saying, well, it's legal.
Yeah.
And this is a really smart guy who would never use "it's legal" to justify any other form of violence. But for some reason, he chose to justify hurting animals by "it's legal." So that I'm giving you an example of sort of what I encountered, and it's kind of sort of people started to sneak in very bad justifications for their behaviors, and I had. Never in a million years did I imagine people that I've respected all my life, sort of sneak in, yeah, but it's legal, after I said I don't eat animals because I don't want to contribute to their suffering. And they go, yeah, but it's legal. What? So, and my mom didn't, my mom thought she thought I was crazy. Like, she didn't say it but like, she thought I could not, she thought this was a phase.
Yeah.
She might deny that or have a discussion with me if she ever heard that, but like, I could tell because and the reason I could tell is because she didn't take me seriously. I remember she didn't take me seriously when I said I don't eat animals anymore. I remember. Whereas my dad he's supportive of everything I do. He doesn't question me, which I like quite a lot.
Yeah,
he was
sure.
just, he never made any, my dad's interesting because he never made any justifications. He never snuck any little justifications in, none. And in fact, he outright says things like, dairy cows, when they can't handle the stress of being milked and all the pregnancies anymore, then they collapse, they go to the slaughterhouse. He says stuff like that, plain as day, and then he goes and pays for it.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing. But again, it doesn't make a difference to me whether my dad goes vegan or some guy on the street goes vegan.
Yeah, for sure.
It does, because it doesn't matter to the animals. But yeah, so there was a bit of indifference, and there was a bit of, well, not a bit, and there's a lot of the moment you say, and this was for me, the moment I ever had a situation, like at a restaurant, you're at dinner with your friends, and they ask me why I don't eat animals, and then I explain, then immediately everyone, becomes a nutrition expert and asks me, like, what about your iron? Aren't you worried about iron and protein and all these things that I'm suddenly an expert in and I have 10 degrees in and it's legal are you against, are you not for people? Are you against all humanity? Are you,
Oh yeah, it's brutal.
So I didn't encounter that much opposition, but
yeah,
it certainly wasn't a smooth transition.
You got a lot of friends, like a lot of your coworkers or whatever in the military that question it or ask you
Oh,
questions?
you can imagine. The military attracts a certain type of person.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine what it's like.
Jokes on
but
you and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, constantly. I've stopped allowing them any sort of to have any sort of effect on me, and I've stopped allowing them to have any sort of like I don't smile at the jokes anymore or whatever. Like I've stopped engaging them. Like I'll straight up say like I'm against animal abuse. You know,
yeah,
like
for sure.
We have no justification to eat animals. Like I'll straight up, you know, and if someone tries to justify like, oh, but we have canines, I'll say, you know, are you saying that because you have a body part capable of doing something, then it's okay to do whatever you want with it? Is that your actual argument? Are you going to tell a judge that if, you know, if you sexually assault someone? Like it's just like I've gotten a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like at work, I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like at work, people have gotten used to that, so they don't dare.
Yeah, for sure.
As much, not like they used to.
Yeah.
They know that I'll make things awkward for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've showed them because like, you know, you joke around at first, yeah, you can laugh a little bit, but eventually if it just keeps going, it's like the more you just joke around, they just don't really take it seriously, and if somebody doesn't really take it seriously, it's not really going to help anything. So it's kind of just like, you know, show them that you're actually serious, and then eventually they're like, oh, okay, like, and then they might be interested in seeing more towards it, kind of thing. But you never know.
Yeah, and I've had that effect on people at work. A number of people have come to me and said, you know what, James, I have actually started reducing my meat consumption.
Totally.
They're like, oh man, that's fantastic. But I never bring my activism to work because, again, it doesn't make a difference whether colleagues go vegan or people on the street go vegan. So why make your life difficult and create tension between people that you have to see every day?
Yeah, just like, you know, do what you got to do, and then people will get attracted to it rather than trying to go towards them, you know, and in that way, you know, it's kind of just...
That's my philosophy for people that I care about in my life or involved in my life. But for strangers on the street, that is not my philosophy.
Yeah, no.
I'll be more aggressive.
Yeah, it's a little bit different since you don't know them or anything, you know. You won't see them again, so...
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So, we probably know the answer to this one, but what keeps you in this lifestyle?
Well, because for me, it's all dependent on if veganism is healthy. I talk to a lot of people that say things like, "Oh, health doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about health at all." And I get people try to shame me for this, but I know I'm right, and it's that if veganism wasn't healthy, it wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I would not be vegan if veganism wasn't healthy. I would absolutely eat animals if veganism wasn't healthy. It entirely rests on health. And because veganism is totally healthy, then of course it becomes an ethical perspective. Since we don't need to eat animals to be healthy, is it morally justifiable for people, you know, in first world countries with access to a grocery store to continue to pay for their slaughter?
Totally.
And these are sentient beings with the capacity to experience pain and, more importantly, joy. So it's wrong to steal their lives away and all the joy they could experience in them for our personal taste pleasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfectly answered. So what are your favorite meals and snacks?
I eat out of convenience for myself. And I guess a bit of laziness. I eat the same things every day. So I have two favorite meals. I mean, this has been an evolution over 6 years. I've gone through like 100 different recipes, but I've broken it down to two favorite meals for lunches and suppers that I kind of alternate each day.
Yeah.
I generally have the same thing for supper. Well, I always have the same thing for supper as I do for lunch because I just make a double batch. And that's easier.
Totally.
You know, less time. But yeah, so the General Tso's tofu by the Buddhist chef.
Okay.
General Tso's tofu. It is awesome. Oh, it's so good. I pretty much make it exactly like he does it. A few modifications just to make it cheaper. And then the other one is just something I picked up from Mexico. Just Mexican style rice and black beans. Nothing fancy.
Nice.
You cook the rice in your Instant Pot if you have one. You should buy one if you don't. And cook it in vegetable broth. Your rice is just perfect.
Yeah.
And you have your pre-soaked beans that you soaked in water overnight. So now they're going to cook as fast as the rice. So you can cook them simultaneously in a separate bowl. The pot in the pot method, bowl inside a bowl.
Yeah.
And then you get them both at the same time. You got your veggies, your peppers, and your onions, and your jalapenos, whatever else you want frying up in the pan. Then you got your salsa, which I just buy because I want to make it. And then I just slice up an avocado, squirt some lime on it. You got that in a bowl, maybe with some lettuce to get that crunch. You get your Mexican style bowl, nothing fancy. I don't really know what else to call it. So that's it.
Nice.
General Tso's tofu and my Mexican style bowls. For breakfast, it's always overnight oats.
Nice.
That I heat up in the morning and then chop up some strawberries and throw in. But yeah, oats soaked in almond milk, maple syrup, cinnamon.
Yeah.
Stir it up, let it soak overnight. Wake up in the morning, into the pot. Strawberries, chop them up, mixture. There you go, 5-minute breakfast.
Oh yeah.
And you're up.
Totally. So easy. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard about overnight oats, I was like, what? Tried that, and I'm like, holy jeez, I would just eat it cold. I found that whenever I eat hot oatmeal, maybe I just eat too much of it, and I thought maybe it was to do with the hot oatmeal, that I felt like it was, it comes back up in my chest a little bit sometimes.
Oh, yeah?
Especially mostly if I was to go do some sort of physical work, maybe too quick after. But then I found if I just did the overnight oats cold, so they weren't like warmed up or anything, it wouldn't be as bad. But yeah, no, the overnight oats are just so good, and just prepare it, throw it in the fridge, and you can have 2-3 in there waiting for the next couple mornings, and it's just so quick and easy. Yeah, totally.
I love that that's a dish that I can do anywhere. Like I'll stay at my parents' place. If they're not vegan, oh well, they have oats, and they bought almond milk for me, and they always have cinnamon and maple syrup on hand. So and they always have berries. So like very simple things that you can make like anywhere you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I might not be able to make my General Tso's tofu when I go over there because there's a bit more to that.
Yeah.
But I still got my breakfast taken care of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my favorite was the overnight oats with the cashew milk, and I chop some dates in there and throw a bunch of peanut butter and swirl it up. But just the overnight oats with the peanut butter and the dates, the combination is just so deadly.
Yeah, that's good.
For sure. So, what tips and tricks would you have for people interested in trying a plant-based lifestyle?
Oh, there's so many more tips and tricks available now than there were 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have really any tips or tricks. Okay, you're trying a plant-based... So I'm going to pretend I'm trying a plant-based lifestyle for the first time.
Yeah.
How do I do it? I'm convinced that I'm going to do it. How am I going to do it? I'm coming at this from a health perspective first. I'm going to go onto chronometer.com, and I'm going to pop in some recipe ideas. I'm going to... On my web browser, I'm going to open up Chronometer, and then I'm going to go on YouTube and look up the Buddhist chef or vegan meals or something. And then I'm just going to put foods that I like into Chronometer. What do I like? Put it in. Does this, and Chronometer, you can see the nutritional bars, like, does this food make things nutritionally adequate? This is how I would do it. Maybe a bit more. Some people might just be like, you know what? I'll just have some, some tofu. That's how I would do it because I like to make sure I do things right. And then I wouldn't want to do this, but I feel like if I met a vegan activist, they could convince me to do this. I would watch some videos from James Aspey or Gary Yourofsky, or even some slaughterhouse videos like Canadian footage or whatever's local to me, just to give me some inspiration as to why I don't want to eat animals.
That's a big one.
I've always found that the difference between people that find veganism hard and people that find it easy. The ones that find it hard are focusing on themselves, and the ones that find it easy are focusing on the animals.
Nice.
So I feel like, yeah, I would square away any health concerns. I'd get on the chronometer. I'd get my meals worked out. I'd start YouTubing recipes. Definitely shout out to, look up the Buddhist chef. I love his meal ideas because everything is always aimed to be as simple as possible.
Yeah.
All the spices, stuff squirted out of a tube. Sriracha, ketchup, soy sauce, like everything's simple. Get on the chronometer, pop that in, figure that out, and then watch, and then get educated about the ethics of it, and then proceed from there. Everything will kind of flow from there.
For sure. Awesome. Cool. So, final question: do you see a plant-based world in the future, and how do you think we can make that happen?
I mean, I hope for a plant-based world in the future. I mean, that would be awesome. But, like, I don't see it, not because, like, I think it's not something that could happen, but because I'm not looking for it. What I'm looking for is a lot more basic. I'm looking for the thing that'll get the most people to take animals off their plates in the shortest amount of time. And if that leads to a plant-based world, awesome. But I'm not looking to create a plant-based world. Because that's too broad reaching. That's, I want to have a much more realistic and direct focus that will motivate me to do something every single day. I feel like looking at a plant-based world is sort of like dreaming of what you're going to do when you win the lottery or something. Like maybe it's not something that will necessarily, at least for me, not something that will motivate me to get up every day and fight for animals.
Yeah.
But whereas watching slaughterhouse footage and watching James Aspie and Gary Yourofsky's speeches and understanding the arguments, that's something that's going to motivate me to get up and think of better ways to get people to stop eating animals. Yeah. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome.
Was there a second part to that question?
Well, I just said it was just, how do you think we can make that happen?
How do you think we can make that happen?
It was, you pretty much answered it, I guess. But
We need to, as effective activists, we need to do the thing that we think is going to get the most people to take animals off their plates in the shortest amount of time. And I say off their plates as opposed to like stop wearing them and all the other ways we exploit animals. And the reason I say that is because I feel like if you go in talking about all exploitation of animals, you go in telling people, yeah, you have to stop eating steak, but you also can't, buy any more leather. That's important. But the consumption of animals is or rather the wearing of animals and testing of animals, the amount of exploitation in that is a drop of water in the ocean compared to the damage done by people eating animals. And so while both are bad, and if you're going to have a logical argument, of course we need to end all exploitation, we have to do the thing that is going to get the most people to stop exploiting animals in the shortest amount of time. And I believe that thing is to make veganism, and specifically not eating animals, as accessible a thing as we can, which means not throwing too much at people too fast.
For sure. Awesome.
Now, in no way am I advocating for baby steps. I'm totally not against it. I'm against advocating for anything less than total abolitionist, abolishment of exploitation. I'm against anything advocating anything that's less than total abolition. But if someone takes steps, if someone comes and tells me, "Oh yeah, I'm doing Meatless Mondays," I'm going to be excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm going to be like, "That is awesome, good job, man." And then I'm going to say like, "So what's keeping you from taking animals off your plate for the other 6 days of the week?"
Totally.
Meatless Mondays, that's fantastic. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. How can I help you, extend that?
Yeah. For sure. Totally. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And if you ever come across anybody else, if you know any other vegans that want to come on the podcast and do an interview like this and spread the message and send them my way. And hope you have an awesome day.
Yeah, Richard, thanks for having me on. This was
Yeah.
fun. I will definitely see if I can find more people for you.
For sure. I love doing this. It's so much fun, especially in the video thing. You can see each other. Like at first, when I first started, I was like, I want to do this like in person. At first, I started with like, oh, I'll just try to interview all the vegans from the island so I can go like do it in person. And it works for a bit, but eventually you run out of people. So
yeah.
And I drove to Moncton and stuff. There's times where I ended up going to Fredericton, so I was able to do one over there and stuff. But eventually I found this way, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it this way. It's a little bit easier, and well, of course, I can't just be driving everywhere. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, this was fun, and thank you so much. And yeah, have a nice day.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes each week, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a review, as it'll help spread the message. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any more episodes. Till next time, have a wonderful day.